Recently I had a less than stellar time with a genre that I just don't particularly enjoy. I've tasked myself with blindly playing through as many DOS games as possible with a random DOS game show, and results are usually varied. With platformers, I almost never have a good time. This is normal, everyone has at least one genre that doesn't work out for them. I played one called Emerald Fantasy II last week, and it didn't go well for me at all. A common but unfortunate occurrence for me. This time, it was different though, as several of my fans were quick to point out. Unlike previous entries, Emerald Fantasy II actually looked quite playable. So I decided to download the latest DOSBox Pure core and insert it into RetroArch. A link to the video about my experiences with Pure can be found in the description. I picked the last 3 platformers I played, Scunny, Emerald Fantasy II and DJ Puff, and installed them to see what Pure's automated control scheme would make of them. Unfortunately, some of the games didn't get auto-detected, so I had to go into the manuals and then controller map in order to get them properly configured. This was a largely pain-free experience, especially if it's for a game you'll be spending hours with anyway. Something I won't be doing with Scunny, I assure you. DJ Puff benefited greatly from this, with its default control scheme of QAOP mapped to the thumbstick, and our good friend Puff bouncing along like he owned the place. Granted, my control of him was still abysmal, but it was a much better experience compared to trying to navigate the game via keyboard. The lack of button prompts in-game also helps you forget that you're playing a keyboard port. Scunny's arrow keys were easy to map, but he's still terrible and always will be terrible due to my entirely irrational hatred of Scunny. And last but not least, Emerald Fantasy II, when hooked up to proper control pad mapping, transforms from a passable platformer with frustrating controls into a genuinely enjoyable SNES-style game. So in future, if you come across a game with abysmal key mapping or no gamepad support, when it clearly deserves it, you should definitely look into DOSBox Pure and make the games from the past better than ever before.